Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and we're going to have a look at the Tory Party Conference. And before you worry, it's not a yawn fest. Rishi Sunak gave his speech, and there was something in it that I think is worth the sharing. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit here and go on about how wonderful the Tories are. We know they're not. They've run out of ideas. They've run out of patience. They've basically just run out of road, haven't they? They know they're not going to win the next election. They've got nothing left to offer because they've turned into the Labour Party effectively. They've gone in with let's go with woke policies, let's go with high taxation, let's not be Tories anymore. And of course they're losing support left, right, centre from real Tories. And so they've done this shift to the left thinking that's the direction of travel. And they've left behind all their normal supporters. And of course they're in deep trouble over it. You've got sponsors and backers now who are saying, well, you're not the Tory party anymore, and they're losing funding. This is absolutely what they're doing. But anyway, that's a different video for a different day. What I'm going to talk about here is the speech Rishi Sunak gave. Now, he mentioned in his speech what he is going to do about Scotland, and he's going to pump all this money into Scotland. And he's described it as about £1.8 billion of funding that's going to go to Scotland from Westminster. 1.8 billion. And of course the SNP aren't happy about that, but that's going to be in a different video. But how he described it, it's not the funding, it's how he described it, which is worth looking at. And I just thought it was, he's basically, they will say never kick a man when he's down. Well, in this case, he's laying the boot into Nicola Sturgeon quite well, I think. And that's definitely, don't like what they call him Mowgli, don't they? Don't like Mowgli. He sits there, he's a typical Tory. He's got his own, he's a non-tax-paying billionaire with a green card. So when he does screw up completely, he can bugger off to America with his wife, who also doesn't pay tax either. So there's nothing keeping him here. So why he should be Prime Minister is another matter. Again, different video, different day. Let's just look at what he said about this 1.8 billion in funding that he is giving to Scotland. It made me laugh. Here goes. So Rishi Sunak says the extra funding for Scotland is worth 28,000 motorhomes as Tories rip into SNP police investigation. Now, I mean, come on, Rishi, that's not how you play the game, is it? You don't look at your political rivals and embarrass them like that, do you? Well done. Well done. For the first time, I think, I actually like what he said. Well done, Rishi. Delegates at the UK Conservative Party Conference have heard some punchy lines about Operation Branchform from the Prime Minister and members of his top team. They've really laid into it. Now, I've not moved the picture up quite so far yet, because I did say in the opening that they had a terrible slogan for this year's conference. I think it's one of the world's most boring slogans. Long-term decisions for a brighter future. That kind of indicates that prior to this, they've only been making short-term decisions for a less bright future. If they want truly long-term decisions for a brighter future, they need to start thinking about turning back into Tories, perhaps, and try and conserve something. They won't do it while they keep abandoning policies and abandoning their supporters. I'm not surprised their supporters are leaving them. Anyway, Rishi Sunak and a number of top Tories have used their speeches at the party conference in Manchester to get digs in about the SNP's ongoing police investigation. So you see, it isn't just us good folks here, hot takes. Even the Tories are getting in on the act of slagging off the SNP. It's open season, isn't it? The Prime Minister led the way on Sunday in a short speech to his party's Scottish members. He said, "We're supporting Scotland more than ever before. And in the last autumn statement, we announced £1.8 billion of extra funding from the UK government going to top up Scottish budgets." He then added, "But in terms that Nicola Sturgeon will understand, that's 28,000 motorhomes." And so, basically slap in the face for Sturgeon and Murrell, isn't it? And it's just talking about the act of the police getting in there and sort of all the what happened. We've done that to death. We've done that. Anyway, Scottish Secretary Alistair Jack also got in on the act. He was telling delegates in his speech on Sunday afternoon that the nationalists had shredded whatever credibility they once had, along with an awful lot of evidence, I suspect, as well. I mean, this is why when they didn't arrest them all at once, someone was sitting there by the shredder, taking out and burning the ashes. They didn't want anything followed up or found, did they? Anyway, he said, I'm not going to comment, he said, on a live police investigation. However, I think we can all agree that the people of Scotland have been shocked by the investigation into the SNP's finances, the arrests of SNP leading figures, and the searches, and the blue and white evidence tents in the garden, and of course the camper van. The camper van of doom, it must be said. In his conference sketch, Daily Mail columnist Quentin Letts wrote, Scottish Secretary Alistair Jack said he wasn't going to comment on Nicola Sturgeon's legal woes, and thus neatly reminded us all of them. That's right. I'm not going to comment on the fact that Nicola Sturgeon's been arrested. I'm not going to comment on the fact that the SNP are under investigation. I'm not going to comment on the fact that everybody thinks they're a bunch of criminals and crooks. I'm not going to comment on the fact that I think they're all a bunch of pervs, pedos and predators, but that's an entirely different story. And anyway, Scottish Conservative leader Douglas Ross also referred to a police investigation into party finances and the luxury caravans seized. He added that the SNP have been having some difficulties, he said, since Sturgeon stood down as leader. They're all having a go. And I don't blame them. Now, not mentioned here, but I'm going to just throw it on as an aside, is something Douglas Ross was saying, is that the Tory party in the UK Tory party may look, because the A9 comes under the road, the whole roads system, it can, because it's a major route, is I think whatever the term is. Although roads and upgrades and things are devolved issues for Scotland, trunk roads can also come under the infrastructure of the United Kingdom. And so they were looking at possibly getting the United Kingdom's Westminster government to fund the dualling of the A9. And if they did that, that would completely, first of all, undermine the SNP. Secondly, completely destroy the desires of the Greens within the Scottish Parliament, and there'd be nothing the SNP could do about it. So you can have a bunch of unhappy Greens moaning about the Tories. How dare these Tories? And I'll tell you where I'm going with this. So you're going to get these Tories going up there and building this huge road up there and making this road lovely. The A9, it's all this lovely road. And then you're going to have the Greens sitting there in Parliament going, what have the British ever, what have the English ever done for us? And then someone will pipe up, the roads? And it'll be like Monty Bloody Python, wouldn't it? The cheap wine, because the Scottish wine's expensive. You see, it is that. And of course, you've got to look at Rishi Sunak and you say he's not the Messiah. He's just a naughty boy. And I'm pretty sure Sturgeon thinks he is too. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this. I will round this off. I will come up and we will finish the video. But it did make me laugh when he said about the A9. But anyway, here it goes. I suppose it won't change any vote. I don't think it will change anyone's voting intentions, of course. But I did think it was just a funny couple of comments there. But it was just, can you imagine how angry the Greens would be if the next thing they saw was all these lorries turning up and all these guys getting out and digging up the road and duelling the whole of the A9, and knowing that the bill was being paid and written off by Westminster? Lorna Slater would be choking on her oatmeal, wouldn't she? She would absolutely be. And I'd love to see it. Oh God, I would love to see that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been a completely different video from normal, but it just made me laugh. And it's not often I do a video on the Tory Party Conference. Can't stand any of these conferences. They're all rubbish. Then the only conference I will be watching, of course, is a couple of weeks we're doing the SNP Conference. Again, purely for gag value. Gag as in humour, not gag as in I won't be boking. I don't know, it might be. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and let's hope that we always look on the bright side of life.